Hello, and thank you for watching 5-Minute Indie Talk Show
on Creative District.
I know the offer is very abundant right now on your feed with all them ice buckets and weed buckets and other challenges. But if you want a challenge, try indie filmmaking.
You'll like it.
I'm here today continuing the interview with James Longshore about the release and revival of James Bong.
James lights fire to the crown, protect stoners who've been wrong.
Marketing budgets often surpass production budgets nowadays. How did you, as an independent filmmaker on an indie budget, approach the marketing strategy for this project?
I always had it in my mind to promote the movie using other forms of media. That's why there is a comic book, James Bond comic book. There is the original soundtrack, which features the awesome hip-hop theme song, The Bong Hit by Wade and Cade, and all kinds of other things that used to thrill me as a kid when I watched movies as a movie lover. It should be about the movie. The marketing's never about the movie anymore. It's always about like who's in it, or what scandal there is, or pictures of people looking cool on the set, or how much money it made, how big its budget was. And it should be about the movie. That's why I think that fan fiction is the most effective form of marketing, and I am unashamedly a fan of this movie. I've watched it many times and I'll watch it many more.
Tell me more about the comic book. That's interesting.
The comic book was sort of a happy accident, you know, because I sat down to write the backstory for all the characters, to write the screenplay, and I couldn't contain it, all the mythology. These stories needed to be told too, to really complete the world. So, you know, what's equally as important as ideas as an indie filmmaker is going out and doing them and getting them made. So that idea came to me while I was writing the backstory that became the mythology, and I went out and I found myself an artist and I wrote my first comic book script, and Rebel Without a Light is now a big part of our marketing.
A free copy to whoever reviews the movie on our Facebook page, on the James Bong Facebook page. So,
James Bong 420 web series page.
You've been quite the authority with marijuana.
Just like his father.
I want to move on into distribution, because distribution 10 years after, you know, how did that happen?
This is the thing, I've always been ahead of the curve, because I tried first breaking into online distribution in 2004 when nobody was doing it. I had some success with it on some startup sites in 2006, 2007 with my comedy network, WFCT, The Thinking Man Show for the Idiot. Now, years later, this is, we have to face it, the way that people are getting their content and watching entertainment. And it was actually the same producer who I started with in 2004, Chris Anthem, who found me, searched me out on Facebook.
Found you in Romania.
Yeah, and invited me to be a part of the launch of MJ360, the first all-cannabis culture network ever in the world.
Cool. Talk about fate.
And destiny.
Just like James Bond.
Your father was one of our finest agents. And now, your turn is up.
What do you think is the future of this new distribution channel, and how does it affect indie filmmaking?
Modern demographics, they demand that you find your audience, that you carve out a niche. One of the things that I think is making James Bond successful is that it's a niche that is going mainstream. And what's cool about MJ360 is that it is like a TV network. It's the first real like TV network, the movie music network, that is on the internet. You know, Netflix, okay, we get our movies from there and they make some TV series, and Hulu's like, oh, we have all the TV series that are already on the networks that are popular, and come to our site and maybe you'll watch some of the little indie channel. Movie Music Network has a lot of different channels, a lot of niches. It has like comedy, animation, cult movies, MJ360, First Cannabis Culture Network.
Who else are you gonna go to? Come on.
I hope that it will help the financing aspect of it, because financing is the biggest challenge for an indie filmmaker. And for example, MJ360 Movie Music Network, it's profit sharing. Right now all they see is like the big studio movies, and this movie made 100 million, and all they see is the 100 million. They don't really, they don't really see the economics of filmmaking or where all that money goes. And maybe if people start to understand that, hey, we're going to make the money after it sells, then they won't demand so much money up front, everybody, from filmmakers, and it'll give indie filmmakers a little more room to create and to bring their stories to the world. I think that's really cool.
I want immediate action done.
I want to ask you, where is this project going, and what is the ultimate goal?
Well, I want to tell you that I made this project 10 years ago. I started this project, and nobody's done anything like it since. And there's this whole universe, this whole story that needs to be told, and universe that needs to be explored.
This is how we'll get the world to do our bidding.
And the important thing with this distribution model is that there's an audience that wants to see this, and there's a place for them to see it. And so what's great about the second season of James Bong is that it has an end game. People will see it, and people want to see it. And that's what matters to us as filmmakers, people seeing our work.
Yeah, because we make it for an audience.
For an audience, not for anybody but you, the audience.
Where are you going? And ultimately, what is your goal with the project?
To make a feature film trilogy called The Way of the Bong.
I'm looking forward to that one personally.
And hopefully you guys are after this interview.
Maybe we can make a deal.
We're wrapping up this blunt interview with James Bong director James Longshore. Thank you for watching our show, 5-Minute Indie Talk Show on Creative District. And thank you, Creative District, for the opportunity. I hope you enjoyed the show. Please watch the series, the web series on MJ360 TV.
James Bong.
All I gotta say is wake me up when September 2nd comes.
August has come and gone. Creative District learned about James Bong. Wake me up on September 2nd.